major tool. No kings for them, they wanted self-rule. Then in 1754, things went down with French and Indian War. The war was costly, it cost a lot. The king needed money, so taxes he brought. The king cracked down with intolerable acts. The colonists felt these rules were whack. The colonists didn't want to pay. They dumped his tea into Boston's Bay. Lexington and Concord marked the spot. I wonder who fired that very first shot. Thomas Paine wrote Common Sense, and Jefferson declared independence. 1776 was the year France came to help, the end was near. The Treaty of Paris ended the war. In 1783, America was born. The Army Federation were not so great, so the delegates started with a brand new slate. After many compromise from behind closed doors, the Constitution became our government's core. 1787, Madison wrote it down at the convention in Philly town. Anti-Federalists had a problem in 91. Without a Bill of Rights, the document wasn't done. Washington was our first president. 2 terms in office was the time he spent. He wrote a short speech in which he moaned, stay out of foreign affairs, just leave them alone. Louisiana purchased 1803 WS territory. Soon after that, Marbury threatened to sue. Marbury v. Madison brought judicial review.
We are now moving into Chapter 14. In this unit, it goes over Andrew Jackson and the growth of American democracy. It is important throughout this unit to keep the less than essential question in mind. The essential question for this unit is, how well did Andrew Jackson promote democracy? Keep this in mind as we go through these units. Something to know about Andrew Jackson was he was a war hero. He was also a self-made man who said that the common people should control their government. The first page of your interactive notebook is a copy of all the scales for this unit. I want you to take your time and read through these scales. Place today's date on where you think you are on these scales. Now remember, we have not covered this material yet, so it will be common for you to place yourself lower on the scale. As you go through these, I'm going to play a short video that goes over Andrew Jackson's life. You have until the end of this video to complete the markings on this scale.
Jackson's presidency, I think, was the fulfillment of the promise in the Constitution about a government by the people.
Andrew Jackson was the 7th President of the United States between 1829 and 1837. He's known for representing the rights of the common man and for being at the forefront of our modern Democratic Party.
He was the first self-made man to be elected president. He was actually the first president who wasn't born and raised in either Massachusetts or Virginia.
Jackson was born in 1767 and worked as a lawyer. When Tennessee was admitted to the Union, he became its first representative to the U.S. Congress. In 1814, Jackson was appointed Major General of the American forces, and his successful defeat of the British in the Battle of New Orleans made him a national hero.
One of the items that's very significant about the Battle of New Orleans was the fact that Jackson faced the best British regulars. These were the same soldiers who had defeated Napoleon. Prior to this battle, Americans had never won a major victory over a European power without the help of another European power.
By 1828, Jackson won the presidency of the United States, and his inauguration was a celebration for the people.
They came from miles and miles away. They camped out for days just to see Jackson.
His presidency hit a low when he destroyed the National Bank, resulting in a nationwide depression. He was also responsible for relocating most Indian tribes to the west.
And his practical solution was 2 things. Either Indians could individually choose to accept a piece of land and adopt white ways and become farmers, or if they wished to maintain their culture, they could be moved further west.
The South Carolina legislature disrupted Jackson's presidency by threatening to secede due to high tariffs placed on imports. Jackson retaliated by threatening to send 50,000 troops into their state to enforce the Constitution, and South Carolina backed down. In the end, Jackson saved the Union.
Now that you've finished marking your scales, turn to page 2 in your interactive notebook. I want you to read over the preview. As we play the song in class, The Hunters of Kentucky, I want you to follow along. Look at the words and pay attention to what the meaning is. At the end of the song, there will be 3 questions you will need to answer at the bottom of the page. Please pay attention now.
Dear gentlemen and ladies fair, that gracious famous city, come listen if you've time to spare, while I rehearse this ditty. And for the opportunity, consider yourself lucky. It is not often that you see a hunter from Kentucky. Oh, Kentucky, the hunters of Kentucky. Now you all did read in the public prints how Pakenham attempted to make our Hickory Jackson wins, but soon his scheme repented. Jackson, he was wide awake and he wasn't scared at trifles. Oh well, he knew what aim we'd take with our Kentucky rifles. Oh, Kentucky, the hunters of Kentucky. Well, a bank was raised to hide our breasts, not that we thought of dying, but that we always like to rest, unless our game is flying. Behind it stood our little band, unwishing to be greater. Every man was half a horse and half an alligator. Oh, Kentucky, the hunters of Kentucky. Well, the British found 'twas vain to fight where lead was all their booty, and so they wisely took to flight and left us all this beauty. So if danger e'er annoys, remember what our trade is. Send for us Kentucky boys and we'll protect you ladies. Oh, Kentucky, the hunters of Kentucky.
Now that you've listened to The Hunters of Kentucky, I want you to answer the 3 questions at the bottom of the page in your interactive notebook. The 3 questions are: 1. What are the 2 adjectives that describe the song's mood? 2. What story does the song tell? And 3. What qualities does the song suggest would make Jackson a good president? After you've done this, you are done with this part of the unit.